Ready?
Buying a Rolex from an AD in Tokyo is not really any easier, but there are so many amazing vintage shops with incredible selections. This is your guide on where to buy Rolex in Tokyo.
Alright, before showing you the best Rolex pieces in Tokyo and where to find them, I need to address a few things. First, the elephant in the room. Even in Japan, you will not be able to buy a new Rolex. The rules that govern Rolex allocation around the world also apply here, so we will not be talking about official Rolex boutiques and dealers in this video. Second, in Japan, there is a vast second-hand market for modern Rolex, and these 4 places are arguably Tokyo's best. However, the modern Rolex market is very liquid and trades globally, so prices here do not deviate significantly from what you might find internationally, even with a weak yen. So instead, we will focus on vintage Rolex. There are some incredible models around Tokyo, and these shops are the best places to find them. Although not a Rolex specialist, Jackroad has an incredible selection of both modern and vintage Rolex. Jackroad is without a doubt the most famous watch store in Japan. As you might have seen on my watch hunting series, it is always the first shop I check, as it allows me to get a general sense of the current state of the market. They sell everything from new and used watches to vintage pieces, and in the small room in the back, they have an incredible vintage Rolex selection. In the central display, you will find dressier pieces, Oyster Precisions, Perpetuals, Datejusts, and more. While on the side, they have the sportier models, Explorers, Subs, Daytonas. On this occasion, these were the 3 pieces that caught my eye. This is a 34mm stainless steel Rolex Oyster Perpetual date from 1972, reference 1500. Oyster Perpetuals are some of the best value vintage Rolex pieces you can buy, but this one has something a little special. Produced exclusively for Hong Kong and Japan, it features a Shantung blue mosaic dial created by weaving silk threads across the dial. It can work both as a casual and a dress piece, priced at $4,000 tax-free. This is a 36mm 18K yellow gold Rolex Metropolitan from 1968, reference 9919. Made at a time when Rolex was more focused on tool watches, it has a dressy and luxurious design that really stands out. It is also known as the UFO Precision due to its recessed lugs hidden on the underside of the case. It has a delicate engine and bezel markings reminiscent of those on the popular Rolex Zephyr, and a beautiful warm silver dial with a concentric circular polish finish. I think it is one of the most underrated vintage Rolex models out there. Priced at $6,250 tax-free. This is a 38mm stainless steel GMT Master from 1958, reference 6542. This is the first ever Rolex GMT. It was created in 1955 in partnership with Panama Airlines for pilots that were starting to fly across time zone as commercial air travel took off. Besides its historical significance, its most important characteristic is the bakelite bezel, which is visually very different from the more ubiquitous anodized aluminum bezels used from 1959 until 2005, when the ceramic ones were introduced. It is a beautiful collector's item, priced at $25,000 tax-free.
This is Carese, one of the most respected watch shops in all of Tokyo and one of the best places to buy vintage Rolex.
Carese is my personal favorite spot for Rolex in Tokyo. They focus on dressy pieces from the 40s to 70s, and they often have some of the rarest vintage Rolex pieces in all of Japan. Also, if you're shopping for women's watches, just know that they have another more ladies-focused store in Roppongi's Midtown Mall. These are the incredible pieces I found on my last visit. This is a 34mm stainless steel Rolex Oyster Perpetual from 1965, reference 1002. It has a beautiful light grey silver dial that is understated in a really classy way. I really like all the different grey dials Oyster Perpetuals came in. The 34mm case might seem small by modern standards, but I love it. It feels timeless. The ends are showing some aging, but it's not too bad. In my opinion, these simple noted Oyster Perpetuals are the best value vintage Rolex you can buy, priced at $2,330 tax-free. This is a 30mm stainless steel Rolex Speed King from 1965, reference 6430. The size of this model has kept it from becoming a fan favorite, but it has a cool history. It was named after the king of speed, Sir Malcolm Campbell, a Rolex enthusiast and breaker of speed records. This particular example has a very ethereal tropical patina on the dial that makes it look quite cool and almost artistic. Otherwise, the watch is in overall good condition, with only some minor scratches, priced at $5,700 tax-free. This is a 26mm 18K yellow gold ladies Rolex Datejust from the 1970s, reference 6917. Now, this is the mob wife watch. I'm just kidding, kind of. But 18K Datejust and Day-Dates were often seen as the pinnacle of opulence. This example is in impeccable condition. It has a pristine gold dial and it comes with its original 18K President bracelet. It is one of the most coveted and desired Rolexes by women, priced at $8,300. This is a 36mm 18K yellow gold Rolex Datejust Ovetone from 1953, reference 6105. It is a legendary watch. Let me explain. So, in 1945, Rolex launched the first Datejust, which initially only featured Oyster Perpetual on the dial. The 6105 was the first ever Rolex to be officially stamped with Datejust. Purists and Rolex disagree on which model should be officially considered the first Datejust, but that's a story for another time. It is nicknamed Ovetone, which is Italian for big egg, due to its larger than average case and dome caseback, which were introduced to fit the new thicker automatic movements of the time. It is a beautiful watch and in great condition, priced at $24,000 tax-free. This is a 36mm stainless steel Rolex Explorer from 1964, reference 1016. On the vintage market, the Explorer has only recently become highly desirable, as it is now recognized for perfectly encapsulating the simple utilitarian two-watch idea the brand is famous for. The 1016 shown here, which was in production from 1959 all the way until 1989, is the most beloved reference, as it is the version that really defined what an Explorer looks like. This specific example, produced only in 1963 and 1964, is a late gilt Type 4 dial, identifiable by its open chapter, gilt ends and glossy black dial. It is in almost perfect condition. It is really a piece for serious Rolex collectors, priced at $35,200 tax-free.
Next up, Kurofune in Akasaka. Truly a hidden gem. They have quite a lot of interesting Rolexes here. Let's see.
Kurofune is an incredibly underrated spot in Akasaka that focuses on rare vintage watches and early cores. I believe you will not find it on most Tokyo watch guides you see online. I actually discovered it a few years back by chance while going out to dinner in the area. Since then, I've been visiting consistently, as they sell the type of vintage watches I'm most interested in. The first display on the left is completely dedicated to Rolex. They have a really nice mix of models from different eras. This is a 30mm 18K white gold Rolex Cellini from 1974, reference 4084. For a long time, the Cellini line, named after the Italian goldsmith and sculptor Benvenuto Cellini, was kind of considered the black sheep of the Rolex family. But over the last few years, it has made a strong comeback, as the watch world has moved back towards smaller, dressier watches. The index-marked white gold case surrounds a stunning blue fume dial that has over the decades developed a delicate webbing, usually referred to as a spider dial. It is really different from the usual Rolex models, priced at $3,100 tax-free. This is a 34mm stainless steel Rolex Oyster Perpetual from 1969, reference 1002. We have already talked about the value of Oyster Perpetual, so I will not bother you with all of that again. This specific piece comes with a darker grey dial that has over time developed a really nice warm undertone. It also comes with a fully linked bracelet. It has some wear, but it is pure class. This is the perfect everyday watch in my opinion, priced at $3,400 tax-free. This is a 27mm 18K yellow gold Rolex King Midas from 1975, reference 4017. The King Midas, just like other Cellinis, used to be ignored, but its Genta design piece, yes, the same Genta behind the Royal Oak and the Nautilus, is now one of the hottest watches in the world. Its pentagonal gold case is inspired by the shape of the Parthenon in Athens, and the left side crown is a genius nod to King Midas' left hand, which turned everything it touched into gold. The specific variant has a matching elegant gold dial. Famously worn by Elvis Presley, the King Midas might actually be the most unique Rolex in history, priced at $13,700 tax-free.
Next on our list, a place you cannot miss, Shellman in Ginza, with some of the best pre-1950s watches in all of Tokyo.
You know I love this place. Founded in 1971, Shellman is one of the oldest and most respected dealers in Tokyo, and definitely the spot for rare vintage pieces. They have everything from Grail Pateks, undervalued Movados, Omegas, much more, and for what concerns us today, Rolex. They mostly stock Datejust and bubble bags. They do have some sportier models, but when I visit, I'm usually captured by the more unique pieces. This is a 31mm 18K yellow gold Rolex copper dial from the 1930s, reference 3850. It is a beautiful Art Deco dress piece with lots of interesting details, starting from the copper dial. It has a delicate pinkish hue with Roman numerals and simple blued pencil hands. The gold case also features an imposing thick bezel and a decorative pattern on the side. It has some patina on the dial, but it's not too bad for a watch that's almost 100 years old. It is a beautiful little Rolex from a different era, priced at $5,900 tax-free. This is a 37mm 18K yellow gold Rolex square from the 1950s, reference 8612. Rolex made quite a few square dainty dress pieces back in those days, but this one stands out for its larger modern proportions, measuring 37 by 27mm. The gold case is decorated with a delicate hobnail texture in perfect condition. It looks sharp and completely unpolished. The dial, on the other hand, has developed a very even patina. This might be a turn-off for some, but it definitely gives the watch character. A stunning and classy vintage Rolex, priced at $12,800 tax-free. Another great spot for Rolex in Ginza is Moonphase, a beautiful two-story boutique designed by world-renowned architect Yoshihiro Kato. The first floor is almost completely dedicated to Rolex. They have a bit of everything, from modern sport pieces to vintage oysters, Datejust, bubble bags, and sometimes even rare Daytonas. Back in Nakano Broadway, just around the corner from Jackroad, you will find Goodwatch. This tiny counter store focuses on rare and collectible Rolexes. They have some truly amazing stuff. Interestingly, they also sell parts, primarily dials and bracelets. And lastly, Corleone, a little shop hidden on the second floor of a small anonymous building in Omotesando that doesn't allow filming, so here are some pictures from their website. They have some of the best Rolex and Tudor pieces in Tokyo, particularly if you're looking for vintage submariners. It is an incredible spot, don't miss it.
Although not the first place that comes to mind when talking about Rolex, as you have seen from this video, Tokyo has an incredible selection of stores. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more Tokyo watch hunts and guides.